All right, here I'm just gonna go through and check out what I need to fix on these Psalms documents. It looks like there's some editing that needs to be done, and maybe do a little reading along the way. So first of all, I'm changing these. Blue. That was nice. It's one thing at a time. Definitely need a better system for this, but this is what I have for now. Kind of wondering if I should highlight these as something else. The Greek translates this as pause, but there's actually some debate on what Salah means. And there's a limited number of Psalms that actually use this word, so they don't know if it's something as some sort of direction for the choir, for musicians, or something along those lines, or maybe even ending the verse or something like that. But we don't really know. But there's this word that's kind of stuck on the end. We see that 3 times here, but yet over here we only see it 2 times. What is going on with that? I should definitely highlight that in some sort of way. But I like to do that. Put it in bold, put it in a color, maybe. Maybe no, it's not really necessarily part of the verse. Color should be purple. Something along those lines. Something like that. Let's say, but I can use that as a placeholder for now. What I want? That is not what I wanted. Color. Oh, missed it. It's 2. So again, I want this to be able to be read at a glance without actually really reading into it and then see the difference between each side. So if you see that there's a lot of differences, besides all this yellow here, but mainly the blue, the orange, and the green right here, then you could see what is extra, what is missing, what is different, and you can choose to read more on that. So like here, obviously I haven't done any work. So what word is this? I have seen this quite a lot. I forget what it's supposed to be. Something along the lines of discipline, you can only assume. Why is this that? It's happening a lot. This is definitely not the most fun part, but hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. A lot of people can use this, whoops, and really get a lot of insight. What it, not only what it says, but how it's different, why it's different, anything like that. To say that one source is better than the other, it's kind of hard to say as well. To say that this translation is perfect or this source text is perfect, I just haven't seen any sort of evidence for that, any sort of inclination towards saying anything is is without fault, right? They all seem to have some sort of issues. Not even just comparing with other texts, but just within its own text. So we can see inconsistencies here and there, or things that just don't contextually line up. So I want to be able to put that all out on display. What's the saying? Lay all your cards down, sort of deal. So you're not hiding anything and trying to hide behind this thought of saying, "Oh, the KJV is God given and it's perfect," or the Septuagint or the Masoretic or any of these sources. You can't really say they're perfect. Even the Dead Sea Scrolls, especially since it's so fragmented, we can't really make a great comparison. With the exception of the Great Isaiah Scroll, because I think that's primarily totally intact, which I do have a comparison of that on here as well. Not so much space here. I also want to keep these verses in line with each other. I'm seeing some sort of inconsistency here. So this happens from time to time too, where I gotta adjust the spacing. See if there's any add space, remove space. Sometimes doing something like that seems to help. There you go. Okay, I don't know. It's looking like it's lining up now. These actually need here. How many more after this? Just a couple. Let's just do it all together. That's so big. Interesting. Fix the. What did I just do? 7. Okay. Easy to make mistakes here. Why is that? There we go. And that's how I do that. Changes the font on this sometimes. Yes. Oh, well, do it separately. Options. Try to get this off to the side so it's save some room here. So yeah, I have to do this on each thing. I can do the whole document all together, but right now this is just easier since I already started editing this thing. Come on now, don't delete. Get it all looking correct here. And whatever text I copied from here has a lot of paragraph. Deletes list. Change list. Six and six. All right. Hearken. Listen. Fix some of that while I'm here. Title. Interesting, it says Most High here, but not there. And I could put all these in separate, you know, tables, different rows and stuff here, but oh, look, yeah, see, I don't know why these are not considered part of the verse when they are actually in the text. I don't think that this is, but this is, which is this phrase right here. Probably have to start going through and redoing some of that. Yeah. Yeah, same deal. See that this is actually part different verse here. So why does it say 10 if that's not like that? I don't know if I copied from two different sources. I'll have to check that out. Why it doesn't have these indication here. This is from Bible Hub, I assume, because it'll actually tell you when the verse numbers don't match up, because the Septuagint does actually have translations of the Septuagint have different numbering of verses. And the original Septuagint text actually has chapters, and they don't always line up with what was made to be chapters later in the Masoretic, even though the Masoretic text and Dead Sea Scrolls don't have chapters or verses. This, I could read it as I go along, but is this that I have here? I don't know if I put that there or what. Interesting. So yeah, now I have to fix this. Yeah. Copy these sometimes from different sources and at different times, so Don't know why it's formatted like this. Some sites will do this, especially to the Psalms. They'll separate every little part of the sentence. There we go. Should be 7 verses. Let's see. 3. That's a long verse. That looks suspicious. Oh yeah, that's longer. Okay. So let's check this out since we're here. So fix up all of this. Is that not going bold? There it goes. Don't know what happened. Why it changes the font. Every now and again it will. Why those aren't in bold? Shake up. Now, for now, I'm highlighting when it says Zion because I'd like to figure out which Zion it's talking about. Because a lot of the times it seems to be talking about the New Jerusalem. So I have that just to take note of that. There's a big chunk. What does that end? Okay, the fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Their acts are vile. They have corrupted themselves and become abominable in their devices and their works. There is none that does good. Okay. I'm familiar with this now. There's none that does good. Not even as much as one. It doesn't say that, does it? So that's where we will highlight on this side. Color amazing. That one, I believe. So that's going to be the extra over here. Just a minute. I'll usually change this to the heavens because this is Shamaim and it's plural. It's always plural. So I am off right there now. There we go. Okay, it looks down from the heavens upon the sons of men to see if any understand, and if any seek God. So, are there any educated in the law that are actually following the law, that are doing good, that are doing righteousness, and seeking the Father? All have turned away. They have together become corrupt, gone the other way. They have become good for nothing. Ooh. There is none that does good, not even one. And then this is all completely new. Wow. Their throat is an open sepulchre, an open grave, a tomb. I do remember this. Okay. With their tongues they have used deceit. I was studying this one day. I forget. I think it does say it in Isaiah. And yeah, Paul mentions it in Romans. So Isaiah is quoting David. Their tongues they have. As far as I can remember, this is even quoted the same way in the Septuagint version of Isaiah, but I'd have to see that. I forget if it says this part in Romans. I believe it might as well, since it says this in the Septuagint. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of the snakes is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways. So they're all doing lawlessness, basically, and being selfish. In the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. So they don't care what they do, and they don't fear the consequences of the Father. Will the workers of twistedness, iniquity, never learn iniquity? They will devour my people like bread. They refuse to call upon Yahuwah. This phrase, call upon him, is quite interesting because you also see this used whenever a priest or a prophet or somebody builds an altar to the Father and they call upon him. Even with singing and dancing and making lots of noise with trumpets and what have you, depending on if this is like a feast day or a big group of people, or maybe even a single person might blow the trumpet, we don't know. But they call upon his name, not only by standing in his authority, by probably literally calling out his name as well, to call the angel there. So I'm wondering if this is kind of what that's referring to as well. Because this is also what happened with Elijah, is he called upon Yahuwah and the angel came right in front of everybody because everybody was doing lawlessness and they were killing prophets. They were killing anybody who was doing lawfulness and following the law, and not going after their idols and their false gods. So, pretty interesting, something to think about. There they are, overwhelmed with dread, for God is in the company of the righteous. They were alarmed in the company of the righteous. That means they stay around, whether invisible or maybe even visible. They stay around those who follow lawfulness. Possibly make offerings. You sinners frustrate the plans of the oppressed, and yet Yahuwah is their shelter. You have shamed the counsel of the poor because Yahuwah is hope. Interesting. So some of these, the general concept might be there, so I won't really mark them as different unless we can really definitively show, like, hey, these are completely different concepts, or they're showing some sort of different context here. Then I'll mark them as different. But they either have to be completely missing from one side, or completely different words used, or what have you. Or if I'm just not too sure, I might mark it as well. If they just seem too different, I can't really justify them saying same kind of thing. Unless they're explicitly saying something different, then I'll definitely mark it there. And as of right now, anybody can go and look at these and highlight something and put all that in there themselves. And then I just approve it if I see that was not a mistake. Oh, that the salvation of Israel, the saving of Israel, the saving of the nation, of his nation, I should say, not the nations, but his nations, would come from Zion. When Yahuwah restores his captive people, let Jacob, let Israel rejoice, let the people rejoice, let Israel be glad. There you go. It says both. So it says the same thing. Now I can change all these to Zion, even though it says Sion, but both are correct and both are incorrect because it's Zion. It's a Tzade. So it's a T and a Z at the same, or a T and a, sorry, T and a S that makes a Z at the same time. They write it Tsade, Sade. So it's Zion. Oh, like I already have this one set up. I used to have these with a space between each one. I'm not sure why I did that. Already long enough. Oops, that's not. Something's not right again. All right, let's switch that back and forth. Still not correct. Okay, suddenly they are correct. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Now it's correct. Now they're on the sides. Like I said, I could just, let's see, split cell? No, not that way. Move all this around if I wanted to, but with the numbering like this, yeah, like how weird. Why is it 14? That? Yeah, it would end up being pretty long to convert all that over, and it would be nice because I can, you add all kinds of notes and details and stuff, and not have to change the spacing all the time. And sometimes the spacing doesn't seem to show up right on the phone or an iPad. So, might have to just overlook that until I can build some sort of application eventually that can do all this better. So, hopefully, I don't know. None of the rest. All right, so let's just start at the bottom. Find out where we were here. The numbers turn blue. Here we are. So I'm just going to do all this together. Add this together. Simply go through and start changing all this. Numbering is to both. It's going to go. It's going to go. Yeah, formatting. It's all messed up right now. What's going on? Oh, the color. Yeah, this takes a while. What I'm going all the way to 740, so it's gonna take a while. There really is a lot of work here. This is why I'm hoping to build a team here soon to be able to get together and really work on these. You take, these 5 chapters, and I'll take 5 chapters, and what have you, and then we just go through and format them all correctly. So, 15. This is the tedious part. I haven't made these to where they will print out. I haven't kept that in mind at all. I haven't saw the need for it too much yet. You could take some of these and print them out, take them to a Bible study, or instead of trying to show them an iPad like I usually do, which never seems to go over well. Guess people don't want to stare at screens whenever they're at a Bible study. People only seem to want to look at paper, even if it's a handout. So, not sure why yet, but just gonna borrow from this. I mean, I might say 80s, I guess. I could say 80s. It's Greek, but same thing. Just because this isn't mentioned often as well, I'm going to highlight this. Oh. Mm. And yeah, I get rid of all the shalls. They don't always work perfectly with just replacing it with will, but I mean, it's still better, easy to read than saying shall this and shall that all the time. Kind of has a different connotation these days. It sounds sort of, I don't know, arrogant, or like you're trying to sound like you're being holy or something. It turns me off, at least whenever I hear, oh, you shall do this and you shall do that. Just say it normal. What am I trying to say? You have, wilt. We don't say wilt anymore. Let's see. Just like that. It's still going to keep that, isn't it? Takes forever. But hopefully it'll be worth it. Does it not want to go bold sometimes? There it goes. Google Docs is kind of quirky, as you see here, so I really don't like using it, but I don't see another option right now. I just don't even see another option. It's not that any are worse or have some better features or anything like that. I just don't know of another one. Another way. I would, of course, like to do this in a website, but I really don't know how that would work or how I can have that done anytime soon. Saved. There we go. Because I would need to still be able to have the feature of people being able to comment and edit. I don't know how to make a web page where people can log in and edit that very page, or some sort of text document in that page, which would be interesting. I'd love to be able to have it to where you can turn these verse numbers off, put them all in order like this, or have them all together like in a sentence, with or without the verses, and be able to turn off all the notes and the commenting, turn off the highlighting, turn off the bold if people don't like that. So that's in the plans, at least, if this can get any sort of momentum. It's going to take a lot of support to get to that point, so. Change some things as I go here. As soon as I start changing words to better words and making things in bold, it'll start moving these paragraphs around, and then I got to go back and fix it again. Let's see. So overall, you see there's a little bit shorter wording or something over here. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are saying two different things. So you really got to go through and look at it. Plus, you have all this on this side, making it a little heavier on this side. But yeah, I'd have to go through and read all that. This is the part I really don't have time for as well, is to go through and really read and compare every little thing and then do all this all by myself, at least on every document. So I just take them little by little. Been working on this for 5 years and I'm not even close to being done with it. So it truly does take a long time. That's part of that, isn't it? Okay. So now they included this in the verse. Oh wait, no, they didn't. But it needs to be to make these comparable. These translators drive me crazy sometimes. Let's just put it like that. Who's this Saul? Is it the Saul? Just to highlight on that. Why is it not formatting like that? Because you got to do it twice. That's what it is. Shortcut for that. Control 2. Alt 2. That's hard to do. After I get used to this formatting, it's actually kind of hard to read without it. I'm used to taking note out of the corner of my eye, all these different colors and the bold and highlights and things like that. And you can really get by with not really reading word for word and still get more understanding and more context out of, at least for me, reading from a regular Bible. It's just something that I've been noticing is you almost don't even have to really read it. You can kind of scan through and just see what's going on. Whoops. 6. Make sure these line up. That's probably all I'm going to do for today. But if you want to be a part of these live streams and even be a part of some of the editing, not even just, the tedious work here, but actually be part of some intellectual work of figuring out what's different, any sort of research, any sort of studying we can do live together. So this is the ultimate goal of what I would like to do with this channel, is to be able to go live with others, even if you're just there with a microphone or there over text, and you could just, anybody in the comments can just join at the same time. If there's any kind of funny business or whatever, then I can just take away the privileges of the making it public. However, basically, I can make it more private and then only add email at a time until it's only a handful of people working on it. So hopefully, I don't have to get to that point right now. But anybody can go on here and actually see what we're doing live all at the same time. You can actually see where everybody's cursor is, and you can all just work together and read together. Even without hearing each other, you can work together. It would be better to communicate, especially with audio. That way you can say, hey, I'm down here working on this verse, working on this chapter. That way you're not trying to write over each other. I leave off over here. If you'd like to see more of these live streams or be a part of them, just let me know in the comments. Not sure if anyone finds this process interesting at all or would want to be a part of it, but once I get all this tedious work done, which there's not many documents that need this anymore, mainly this one. I've actually fixed up a lot of the other Psalms already too, but I'm just going to try to go through these documents one by one and just get them done. But yeah, if you'd like to be a part of the highlighting part of this, to where we're actually going through and trying to read things with real comprehension and make sure it's different, go look up Greek words, things like that, to really see what's different about it. Is this just a grammar thing? Is this a translation thing? Why are these different? So that's the idea behind that. Let's highlight that again. The pangs of Hades. Cords of Sheol. Okay, that's different. So yeah, see, like I don't even know how that's, at a glance, I don't even know how that's different, why that's different. Entangled me, came round about me. How do pangs come around you? I'm not sure. Snare of death prevented me. Snare of death confronted me. In context, it might mean basically the same thing, but it is, interesting to see how different this wording can get. So this is the kind of studying that I'd like to do on here, not just reading blindly and then just waiting for someone's like little input here and there and keep on reading. This is really studying, really figuring out what this is. And then once you figure something out, you have it put into this document. And that way people don't have to go through all that again. And especially if we can do it on these live videos, then they can go back and actually see the work that was done if they're questioning the work that was done. And see how they came about these answers or these conclusions, these ideas. And, you can come up with another idea or an argument or what have you, and then see about, fixing it. So this is not, just my ideas. This is supposed to be from everybody. So
Noise. Who's making that noise?
some it's gonna be random questions here. I don't know why I changed all this, but yet I didn't have it highlighted. Yeah, this is gonna take forever here. So lots of work to do. Align all these verses up. Scrolling through, I can see something's off here and there. Unless I'm really hitting enter quite a few times, or don't really sit there and read it to try to see if it's different. It's probably just the wording that's making the sentence shorter or longer. But it's not often very different, but when it is different, it could be wildly different. So that's what I want to be able to address, so you don't have people saying, hey, the Bible doesn't agree with itself, or the source texts are all different. We need to try to figure out, or yet at least even theorize why it's different. Is there a reason behind all this? Did someone change something purposely? Could this have been a mistake? Look at the Greek and the Hebrew together, and maybe the wording is actually fairly similar. It's just been translated so wildly different that we can't really tell the difference in English, right? So, especially if anyone out there is ever, ancient Hebrew, ancient Greek scholar of any kind that can help with, more literal or better translations, that would be amazing. So, yeah, I'm not even very far down. This is very, very long. I need to make sure all this is the same size as well. So many blank pages. I need to see what's going on with that. These documents can get so long sometimes. There we go. Yeah, now it's 100 pages long, but there's a bunch of blank pages. This is not pages. I have this one on seamless down on pageless. But yeah, it's still showing page numbers up to 100. That is oddly long. Don't know why, but here we are. So yeah, let me know your comments, concerns, any ideas that you have. If you want to be a part of these streams and even schedule something with me, or even get together in private and start working on some of these documents, or just do any kind of study that you want, and then have your studies actually go somewhere and actually be seen and noticed by people. So yeah, that's it for today. So I'm going to continue to work. So if you do happen to comment on any of this later, then I'll see that and I'll get back to you.